Welcome, folks, back to the Craig Bushon Show, live from Heroes Night Out. Go to heroesnightout.org. Boy, James Gaspar, first of all, is the new family member of the BFIM media team, and he is the host of our brand new, what's soon to be a very hot program called Gamer. But at first, I have to say, James, you are wearing probably, I think it's the best logo in all of NFL sports.
You mean the Nintendo controller?
That'd be incorrect.
Go Texans.
Yes, right. Go Texans. That's right. Texans, of course, 11-1 tomorrow night's Monday Night Football. They got a big challenge against the New England Patriots. So we'll see what happens there. It's a good challenge for them. But hey, welcome back to the show, James.
It's good to be back. I missed you guys last week. Man, I got to tell you, so much has happened in the last 2 weeks. There's just a lot going on right now. Huge things. Let's start off with the Spike TV VGA Awards. Do you know about those?
I do, absolutely.
This is the 10th annual VGA Awards. It was hosted by, I'm totally messing that up, but it was hosted by Samuel L. Jackson.
Snakes on the Train.
Snakes on the Train. They actually had, in presenting him and getting him ready, they were doing a lot of quotes. May the Force be with you, stuff from Pulp Fiction, things like that.
Sure.
A lot of fire and effects. They actually started the show off with a tribute to The Hobbit, South Park style. It was hilarious. Go to spiketv.com. You can check it out. Congratulations to Borderlands, and that was one of the games I was talking about last time we did Gamer. Borderlands 2 kind of stole the award show. They got 5 or 6 awards that night.
Really?
Yes. Best shooting game, best male action figure, best character through their claptrap, which is a little robot. He's funny, kind of quirky. It was a great character. Borderlands 2, I've been saying this for a while, has really stepped up the game, and they were hanging with all the big boys. This was a game that came out. The first Borderlands game came out a couple of years ago. A lot of people were not sure about it because it bridges that gap. It's kind of an RPG. It's kind of a first-person shooter. It gives both elements of it, and it was funny. And they didn't take it seriously. And they did this new type of graphic called cell shading, and it wasn't high-end graphics, but it was. And what they did is it looked like a comic book. And so they kind of approached the whole game like a comic book.
I've noticed a lot of Japanese games are that way, where a comic book-ish feeling.
Yes. And that goes all the way back to, it actually goes back to World War II after Hiroshima. And that whole Japanese animation, that Japanese style of animation was actually brought on through World War II. And after Hiroshima, they didn't have the artists, they didn't have the production capabilities, there just wasn't money, so animation became very cheap.
Sure.
And Japanese animation, that styling was, at the time, the most inexpensive manufacturing process. It was the most inexpensive process, and it became very popular, and this is what the kids had, growing up in a time when their homeland was completely devastated. Fast forward a couple of years, they grew up on this, and those kids are now adults, and just like we see in the gaming world today, the kids are now adults, and now we're all gamers, and we've taken some of that with us.
And we still use, a PS3 or an Xbox 360 and want to get play Defender on it.
Yes.
Or Berserk.
It's funny
because
because
a throwback for us.
The arcade classics, they're still selling the original Doom on Xbox Live. You can actually buy the original Doom on Xbox Live, and so a lot of the old classics are still living. You see it on Nintendo. Nintendo has it through their eShop, where you can buy the original Super Mario Brothers, the original Duck Hunt, a lot of the original games are still out there, and they're living through the new consoles.
Well, the Duck Hunt, I think it started with the remote that you have from the first generation Nintendo, I guess.
Yes, it started with that and the light gun.
Yeah, that's what it started with.
Yes, and that's where a lot of people remember, especially our age. A lot of people remember from that generation waking up in the morning, Christmas Day or whatever they got their Nintendo system, and they remember getting on, and all of a sudden there was da 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 And that song alone is so famous that people just go around and they know what that song is. I mean, It's been redone so many times. You have choir groups in high school now singing that, doing an a cappella version of that. There is a whole concert series called Video Games Live. And these are video game producers who have gone and taken their music to the road and are selling out worldwide. They're going to be coming here to Austin in January. So, it's a huge, huge, huge. I cannot emphasize how huge that show is. Selling out in LA. Selling out. Pretty much every show they do is a sold out show. They incorporate laser lights, huge lighting shows. They use like 3 different projection screens. They have actors come out. And then you have the fans who come out in costumes, almost like a Comic-Con. And they come out and they just enjoy the show. It's a great show. But getting back to the Spike TV Awards, this was big. And one of the big ones, one of the big games that was there, again, Borderlands 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which has been one of my personal favorite games in the last month, did not do as well as everybody thought. I think the Call of Duty's kind of just been drawn out a little bit. My good friend, congratulations by the way, Jack Wall, my good friend, he was in the Final Four showdown for the best original game score for his work on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The other games in that category were Halo 4, Journey, and Max Payne 3. All of these games had great work, a lot of great work, a lot of hard work and talent behind it. In the end, Journey, which was an indie game, won. I could not believe that. Everybody was a little shocked on it.
Really?
Yeah.
So why is it that you see today some game manufacturers will put one game out, and then a year later another game out, and the next year another game out, and it tends like that some get rushed. And people, here's what I get, the feedback I get, even by some of the parents that watch the show, is that they will buy a game and literally 5 days later, their kids done playing it. They've beaten the game in a matter of hours, and that's it. And then they got to trade it in, and then they're gonna lose 60, 70 cents on the dollar.
Okay, well that actually brings us back into some of what I was going to talk about on the show today, DLC, which is downloadable content. Yes, no, the games are not rushed, although sometimes they feel that way, and there is. I mean, like any other market out there, the developers come up with a concept. They have the programmers, developers, and the guy who says, "This is my great idea. I want to have a game with a robot that shoots things, and these things do this, and maybe there's some aliens or something else." But somebody has an idea, or a group of people have an idea. They come up with a concept, maybe draw it out, and usually it's on napkins from what I've seen. And they go to whatever studio and present it. And the studio decides that they are going to be the financier. In other words, the studio is the bank. They provide the money that allows the game to be built. At that point, the studio says, here is a date. It is a hard date. You're going to meet this date to per contract to be able to put this game out. So there is some pressure from the game designers to be able to put these games out. We actually saw this happen with Blizzard, who put out StarCraft 2. They waited something 15 years to put out StarCraft 2, and it was a big deal. The fans were ready for it. The fans were so ready for it. They waited. Same with Diablo 3. The fans were just ready for it, and Blizzard said, no, we are not going to put a game out that we don't feel is ready.
Well, some games like Splinter Cell. Long gap between some when they come out. I mean, years.
Yes, and that has to deal with the designers. That has to deal with one.
Which now they're making into a movie.
Yes. Which
I can't wait, by the way. Sam Fisher. This is going to be great. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Actually, the characters. What you're talking about there is the gaming community. The gaming community and developers are very, very closely tied. The gaming community is a community that is extremely vocal. They're on blogs, they're on podcasts, they're on, radio shows. The gaming community is vocal, and the gaming industry hears them. Mass Effect 3 was a perfect example of that. Mass Effect 3 had a very controversial ending. I'm not going to give away the ending for those who haven't played it, and you should. But the fans were not happy with the ending. It was short, and it left a lot open. The fans were very disappointed in this. Mass Effect 3, the designers went back and they extended it. They didn't change it, and there was a lot of controversy about that in itself because the fans wanted the ending to be changed. Well, the BioWare in Mass Effect 3 decided, no, we're not going to change the ending, but we are going to add on to it. We're going to give you a longer ending. And they released it as a free DLC, downloadable content, to the fans, and they were able to download that and go back and play the extended ending. So let me talk about DLC a little bit for a few minutes here. DLC is downloadable content. And this is where it's good, because as you talked about, a lot of times you buy a game, and maybe you play it. I know I played through Halo 4, and it was extremely short. The shortest game in that series. And I felt, man, this is too short. I couldn't believe I went through the game in a matter of 2 days. So, DLC is a great way that the game can be added onto. And, again, Borderlands 2 has taken advantage of this. Borderlands 2, and I'm going to use them as an example. In the first Borderlands, you had the game, it was actually a very long game, and you got a lot of good play out of it. And so once you beat the game, they had downloadable content, and that was Mad Moxie's Underdome, and they had a couple other ones out there. General, oh gosh, I can't remember the guy's name, but they had another one and an armory. And it was actually the DLC, the downloadable content, took place after the game was beaten. So it extended the life of the game. And these were all actually, these downloadable contents were fairly long in themselves. To the point that Mad Moxie, and hers was kind of just like this Mad Max, Underdome, lot of creatures coming at you, and you was all survival. You had one chance to survive, and if you died, that was it. You just died, and you had to try all over from scratch. And the point of that downloadable content, that portion of the game, was to survive five rounds or 5 rounds to a wave, and then 5 waves to win that game. And then you had to do that 3 times. And if you died once, that was it.
Interesting.
Yeah, penalty.
But a lot of these DLCs had to be paid for.
Yes.
It's a way for some of the pushback, and as everyone knows, my viewers, I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, sometimes these games feel like that they designed them so they can continually get you for $10 more, $10 more, $15 more, and it never ends, where they could have put it into the game for $69.95. They didn't.
That has been a controversy for a long time, because there are big fans out there saying, hey, I paid $60 for my game, and now you guys want me to pay another $10, another $15 to get extra out of it? No. I'm a firm believer in the downloadable content. I think it's great. A lot of it is because some of the envision isn't really seen when the game is designed. Sometimes there's things in the game that in the development of the game they just didn't have time to pay attention to a little detail here or a little detail there, or they in the development of the game, like writing a book. Sometimes you just say, hey, I could have put this in later. I wish I would have done that, but now it's produced. Downloadable content gives them that option to say, hey, we can add to this.
But do they know it? Do you believe that they know it when they do it?
Yes.
And because so shouldn't some say beta mode? I mean, shouldn't some say, 2.0 is coming out soon?
Mass Effect 3 actually made that mistake. Mass Effect 3, when they came out, day one that it was released, they had downloadable content to buy. And a lot of the consumers out there were saying, "Hey, why are you sticking us with this? Why didn't you just put it in the game?" Actually, it was a separate team. It was a completely separate team who had a beta version of the game prior to it, and were already in the process. BioWare wanted to put extra content out there for the fans. to be able to play. Here's the thing with downloadable content. You don't have to buy it. It's not forced on you. The game will still play. And so if it's a game that you really like, for me, I loved Borderlands. And so this was a game I was really vested into the characters, into the story, into the gameplay. And so when it came around and I said, hey, I beat the game, well, I chose to go ahead and pay an extra $10 or pay an extra $20. I actually got the season pass where I paid $24 and I just get everything now.
Yeah, and that's a big thing to think about this holiday season, folks, is that how do you buy the video game for your child? Or maybe you need to buy one for yourself and you need to buy gifts for other people. How do you make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck? That's where some of these platinum editions, some of these, when you buy a game when it comes out, whether it's Call of Duty or whatever, Halo, whatever game it is, sometimes they'll come out with, a platinum series or a higher level that you can buy for a little more money, but it gives you far more. Say you pay $10 more, $20 more, it gives you $100 more worth of stuff.
We're seeing that a lot with basically Game of the Year editions, and that is the Game of the Year editions tend to come out about a year afterwards, after the game's been released, and a lot of times they have all the downloadable content with it, and if you buy it new as opposed to used, you also get the online pass. And the online pass was something that a lot of the game developers kind of got together and said, hey, we've got people buying used games. We're not sure we really want them to play and have all the premium content that the guys who paid $60 have. And so we're going to charge them. If they buy it used, we're going to charge them $10 so they can have the premium online content. And they did that through a pass. When you buy the Game of the Year edition or you buy it new, the game comes with that online pass. You type in your code and you get the premium online content. So yes, used games, Game of the Year editions are great ways to go, especially for gifts. Huge, great way to go. And the season passes, I really like the concept of that because, like you said, the downloadable content got really expensive. You could pay almost $40. In Borderlands, in the first Borderlands game, you could pay almost $40 or more for all the downloadable content. Well, at that point, you just bought a second game. So now the industry has realized, hey, we got gamers. A lot of gamers are younger, and then the ones who are not younger have families. And so now this is a way for them to say this is a fair price. You can go out and get all the downloadable content you want or need. Here's a fair price for it, and you just get what you want. And if you want everything, we have the season pass. And you can just pay for it all up front. And basically, it's buy 3 get 1 free is the rule of thumb I've seen on that.
Sure. And again, folks, you're watching the Craig Bushon Show from Heroes Night Out, and I'm with James Gaspar. He is a new host, or I should say, he is a new member of the Be First Media family, and he's also the host of a brand new show we call Gamer. And I know you have some gaming news. I mean, what's going right now? What's trending right now? To steal a Twitter phrase. But the fact is, there's a lot of gaming news going on. So what you got?
Okay, so here's the deal with it. Console game sales have actually declined this year. There's a lot fewer sales than they were expecting from last year, and that could be the economy. That could be a number of things. It could just be that there's not as many games released, although it feels like there's been a lot of games released this year.
What if I said, here's my opinion. I've been buying consoles for 20 years, 20 plus years. I believe people in the back of their mind are waiting for the Xbox 720 or whatever, or they're waiting for the PS4. They believe that something's going to come out, and they don't want to be caught with it's getting close.
Okay.
It's getting close.
So there's a lot of rumors saying it is getting close. Nobody has released anything. Nobody's released. Xbox has not released anything, and I don't think we're going to see anything till at least the end of 2013.
Because the games, they're pushing the Xboxes to their limits now.
Yes.
I mean, there are now games can do far more than what Xbox sees. If you look at a game, folks, this is my personal opinion, because I'll game on a computer. Okay, I look at the same, whether it's Battlefield 3, and I look at it. We have Xbox 360, we have PS3, and then we have my PC, gaming PC.
Yes.
Light years in quality of the game playing, in my opinion, and just the way it looks, the map, how far you can see. It's just it lends us to think, wow, wait a minute, games now are so much farther advanced than what the consoles can do now. It just feels like it's time. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. It just feels like it's time.
They've been saying that for the last year. A lot of people have been saying that for the last year, and you were hearing it at the end of the last holiday season, where people were saying, "Hey, we're ready for it," and it's all over the magazines. It's all over Game Informer. It's in PC Gamer. Everybody's talking about, hey, the consoles have lived their lifespan, and it's been a big deal. The new console out, the Wii U, which, by the way, 400,000 were snapped up in the first week.
Wow.
Yeah, so that did fairly well. A lot of people are ready for these consoles, but again, Sony hasn't released a name. They haven't released specs. They haven't released anything about the new consoles yet. Microsoft has not released any information about this new console that may or may not be coming out. We don't know. Nothing's really been set in stone, so if you've got a fear of buying a console right now, don't worry about it. And by the way, there's always a transitional phase. So for all these Xbox 360 owners or your PlayStation 3 owners, even if a new console comes out at the end of next year, so we're talking about Christmas time 2013, they're still going to be making games for PlayStation 3, for Xbox 360.
Sure. Well, there's another reason I bring it up. I'm at, right here, there is my GameStop Power Up Rewards card.
Which is on my list of things to give to gamers.
Okay, and we'll get to that, but it's just, I was in there the other day. I won't say which one I was in. But here's how I know, James, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I do not have the expertise that you and many of you watching this have. But I will tell you, I listen to the folks. And the guy behind the counter, for the first time ever, said that he's now gaming more and more on a PC. Now, that's in a company that does very little for that industry. It's more for the consoles. So when I see even people in the industry that are selling for consoles saying, man, you should see, exact words, you should see this game on a PC, on a gaming computer.
Absolutely.
That tells me that there's a little layer of frustration that, wait a minute, come on, give me more, because they have the capability of giving more. And the proof is they see it on a PC. And there's always been a little bit better on a PC or on a gaming laptop than what you'd see on a console. But now it's getting farther and farther apart.
Yes, the Xbox 360 is an aging system. The PlayStation 3 is also an aging system. That being said, they're still very powerful systems. I mean, the Xbox 360 actually was at one point suspected to be the next generation Apple, and that's the reason is it's an IBM G series processor. It's a triple core processor, and that was supposedly right before Apple went to the Intel chips. There was some question about whether or not that was going to be the chip. There's rumor out there that after Apple dumped IBM, they ended up marketing that chip to Microsoft as a new gaming chip. It's a triple core processor, still a very, very powerful processor. Put it in perspective, the PlayStation 3 is actually a supercomputer.
Right. Well, I'll tell you. I'll make your point. I was with my son, and we went and got Far Cry 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm a huge fan of that feel, that look of a game. Okay, very graphic, you're in its world. It draws you in, right? But the frame rate, we bought it on Xbox 360, and we're trying to play it online. The frame rate just was not there. I'm getting a headache trying to play this. The great folks at GameStop, I'm telling you, GameStop does a great job. So we go to GameStop, and they actually, because we buy a lot of games through there, and they know that I'm the PS3 guy, and then the computer guy, and then my son's more the Xbox 360, then the PS3 guy. We went back and got it on PS3, light years difference in the frames, per second. Just the whole processing was much better. Making your point about the processor inside a PS3, it's far more substantial. I don't care what anyone says. I know because I've seen them side by side.
I love the Xbox 360. Love it, love it, love it. But I will admit the graphics are better on a PlayStation 3, and that's because they have a cell-based processing. For instance, like I was saying, the PS3 is actually a supercomputer. The Air Force has thousands. I think it's like
Really?
something like 2,000 PlayStation 3s all linked together. And as more PlayStation 3s are linked together, that cell-based processing starts enabling it. So it becomes actually a faster, more powerful processor.
Really?
So the more of them you add, the more powerful it gets.
So they're feeding up like true synergy.
True synergy. The Air Force uses the PlayStation 3 as their supercomputer. And it's thousands of them all linked together running special software.
Wow.
Same thing happens when you're doing your console gaming with the PlayStation 3. So as you're playing online, the more of them that are linked together start using that cell-based processing power and starts becoming more powerful. They do have an advantage, and the PlayStation 3 has always had an advantage in the graphics field. It is truly a more powerful chip. Sony did a great job on that. Where they're lacking and where Xbox ends up winning is through their live services, and that
Right.
is the social aspects, the ease of gaming is considerably better, and I think that plays into the heart of gamers and saying, hey, if I want to play a game and I want to play with my friends, I'd rather it be easier, and this is the field that we're playing on than what PlayStation has done. PlayStation is only recently, after they got hacked, starting putting money into this.
And that's it, because they gave it away.
They gave it away.
Pay, and then when you're not paying and you're not making money from it, the bean counters out there, they're not going to put money into something that they're not making money from.
Well, they marketed that to the gamers as, hey, you can play, you don't have to pay for live services. You could just come over here to the PlayStation and play for free. And a lot of gamers liked that for a long time. The problem is it's a little bit more complicated than Xbox Live is. And so for your PlayStation 3 gamers, they absolutely loved it, and you had to be a hardcore PlayStation 3 gamer. And if you were an Xbox gamer, that was where it was at. And so they kind of developed this two sides of a coin. Of you're either a PlayStation 3 gamer or you're an Xbox 360 gamer. If you're like me, I play a little everything.
Sure, right.
And so I have all the systems. I have a Wii U. I just got that. I have the PlayStation 3. I have two Xbox 360s. I have a portable one, and I have the one that stays at home. I also have a PC and do PC gaming on that, although my PC is getting a little bit older.
Well, and it seems like the manufacturers, whether it's Sony, obviously, who does a lot of different stuff, all right, you have Microsoft Network, which is really Xbox 360, and you have the Windows 8. You got everyone's, and then you have Apple, which you're on right there, right? And everyone's going after, not to discount Nintendo and the Wii's and all that, but then you look at the game playing, the engines. You look at Naughty Dog. I'm a huge Naughty Dog fan. Sony purchases Naughty Dog. It's like companies are making a strategic move now to really own a place in gaming by being the engine of gaming. And where Naughty Dog, I think they're one of the real motherships of really pushing the envelope.
Absolutely. You have the Unreal Engine, which has been around for a long time, Unreal 3. And Unreal 3 was a interesting game. It kind of ran on the first-person shooters. It was kind of like Call of Duty or Call of Duty before there was Call of Duty. And that was this massive online arena-style gaming. And Unreal kind of took the champion of that. Quake was doing it for a while, and they kind of got taken over by Unreal. The Unreal Engine, their technology and their programming languages have been the standard for a long time, and now there's an Unreal Engine 4 in beta that I've seen in PC Gamer, and so everybody's kind of really excited about this because now they don't have to do things by mistake on purpose. With lighting, now it has lighting incorporated into it.
Okay.
But now it's a question of everybody. It's kind of been a yin and a yang. the consoles have been waiting for the programming language. The programming language has been waiting for the consoles. They're starting to now come together. We may be seeing a new console in the next year, but again, it's still a good time to buy, especially right now because the holiday season. You've got
Yeah, what can people get? A lot of people, you mentioned earlier, the economy, people hear about the fiscal cliff, people hear, they hear that there's an uncertain future maybe in their own life as far as their job maybe
I'm
or
telling
whatever.
you, now,
what can people do that's affordable, that makes sense?
Okay, now is the time to buy. Just flat out, now is the time to buy. Right now with the holiday season, gaming systems are at their cheapest. And this is a time where the gaming industry really understands and knows that they're going to make a lot of their money right now, being gifts, for being gifts or replacements. Last year, my Xbox actually died around this time, and I ended up getting one of the holiday sets that came with Halo and it came with Fable 3. So I ended up getting 2 games with it. And right now we're seeing that come back. So everybody's got their own holiday package. PlayStation 3, Xbox, they both have really great priced holiday kits. And they're at every store you can find out there. And then a lot of, like GameStop has their own little special add-on to that. So right now is the time to buy it, and we're seeing them as low as like $250. Microsoft Store is another one that keeps up with it. I know that we have a Microsoft Store here in Austin.
We do, right? In the Domain. Absolutely right.
In the Domain. And I've been surprised at some of the prices because their prices are very competitive, and I wouldn't have thought so because they're kind of a specialty store, but some of the best gear I've gotten is through them, like my games unit, which I actually have it here, and you guys will hopefully someday see in the behind the scenes footage. But I actually have it here. So while Craig Bushon was doing his show, I was actually playing Halo 4 in the back,
taking advantage of the time.
So yeah, it's now is the time to buy. It really is. If you're looking for a good console, if you've been holding off for all these years, now is the time to buy.
Now, what about buying extended warranties? Some people will say, hey, you go to a place and they say, hey, would you like to put an extended warranty on this?
I tend to stay away from them. Some of them places do it, and it's really up to you. It depends on how hard you are on your game, how hard are you on your gaming system. If you're like me and have a gaming system that's portable, it's going to get a little more wear and tear. Even though it's in that game's case, it still gets a little bit more wear and tear just being packaged up, packaged back in, and traveling around in the back of the car. Or even being open and playing in the car.
And there's built-in warranties, too. Like, one of the big things with Xbox 360, and a lot of you out there, a lot of you parents know this, is the red ring of death. Yeah, but there's already a built-in warranty from Xbox if that happens.
There is. In fact, my Wii U, when I bought it, actually came defective. It was defective out of the box. And so, Nintendo was really, really good about going through the process to make sure.
So Nintendo's doing it too. So it pays. Listen, these people are really making their money from the game, buying games too. So they want to keep you in the game.
Yes.
No pun intended. By keeping you with a console.
Yes.
But they're not indestructible either. I mean, they have to be taken care of, and so for people out there who are trying to purchase the right system for their family. Is there one that's better than the other? One that's more durable than the other? Are there certain age brackets you look at, or is it all just personal feelings? But how does? Let me put the question this way, James. Let's look at a young family.
Yeah.
And they have a couple kids, and they're all under 10, and they're both under 10, and they've never had a gaming console before, but they're about to be teenagers too soon. How do you steer them?
Well, that's where I'd say go with the Nintendo Wii U, because Nintendo has really done a good job about understanding their gamers, their clients in this case, but they're gamers. And when they came out with the first Wii, they alienated that hardcore gamer base.
Oh, no doubt about
it. But they gained a very young and a very old age base. With the Wii U, they brought that back because they opened up. The opening day, they had Mass Effect 3, Assassin's Creed 3, Ninja Gaiden 3. There's a lot of threes now. A lot of the sequels are out. But they came out with a lot of these games that have already had a base built up. They've already had a lot of gamers hit on it. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, again, the Wii U. So they've got all the major players in place to bring back the gaming market, the hardcore gamer market. So that would be great for them. It gives them a little opportunity to grow. It's a good unit. I've had a chance to play with it a little bit. I got on it last night and kind of started setting it up. It's a lot of fun. The touchscreen controller actually works as your television and cable box controller. It's extremely
very
easy.
popular these days.
It's extremely easy to set up. That would be a good place to start. I mean, and as they grow, maybe they go into the more hardcore. The Xbox and the PlayStation 3 are definitely for your more hardcore gamers. They've been around, they've been around the gaming community a little bit. They've played for some time, and it's kind of that's the more hardcore gamers, the more adult gamers would definitely be with the Xbox and PlayStation 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Okay. How
would you like to cure AIDS?
How would I like to cure AIDS? Okay. Cancer? Absolutely. How do we do that?
Believe it or not, I have found this. You can help cure AIDS with a video game.
Okay. There's something to this. There has to be. There's a trap being set for me. There's something going on. How does this? How can a video game? Okay, so they must buy it, and then a percentage of that goes to.
No. Absolutely not. How
does that happen?
Fold It was actually a game developed by a gentleman, and this game. It's called Fold It, and you can look it up. What it does is it uses real science dealing with RNA and other molecules in your body. And the idea is to be able to fold the DNA and RNA molecules as tightly as possible. Those results actually go back to the science lab, and they found that it actually is working, and they have found a new treatment.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but tell me a little bit more on how that's happening.
And as I'm pulling it up right now...
And it's called Fold It. You're at Fold It.
I'm at Fold It, fold.it/portal. And what it is you go in and you install the game, and as you play it, the results go to the science team, and they can see how you folded this DNA. And it gives you rules on how to fold, and it teaches you how to fold. And they were seeing players actually... folding in new and different ways. In fact,
I get it.
A 9-year-old actually found a new development for AIDS by playing Fold It.
Really?
Yes. And there's another one to it. There's another one. The game maker, the guy who did it, and I can't remember his name offhand, did another one called Eterna. And what's cool about Eterna, again, it's by the same guy who did Fold It. Eterna actually sends your results to a science lab. So as you're manipulating these DNA cells and these different cells, they actually take that to a science lab and manufacture that. And they were saying at first they weren't seeing any development. All of a sudden, 6 months down the road, the players were getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And by the it's kind of a social media experiment. Yeah. But as they did it as a social media experiment, but they actually go through and develop whatever whatever you made, created in this game. They develop that and then send you the results.
So if you help cure it, do you get the profit from the sales?
I don't think so.
I mean, so basically the other side of this is that they have all this free labor helping them develop stuff that nobody makes any money on except them. Now, obviously, people being cured from the disease, that's worth more than the money. But obviously, if it's a pharma company out there, they're making some bank.
Well, and actually, I saw this on Nova, and it kind of piqued my interest, so I looked into it a little bit more. But what they were saying is actually that the computers don't have the capable processing power to do the mathematics to it. And what happened is they're actually using the processing power of the brain in mass quantities. So by having 1.4 million users, and 1.4 million minds,
Sure.
not computers,
Right.
actual people.
And the
looking at this.
flexibility that we have, that's what a lot of people don't realize. That computer is a lot of hard rights and lefts, edges, and it's bits and bytes. It does not have fluidity. You can look at Siri, you can look at a lot of different things. Google's got its new upgrade that happens. You can speak to your phone and all that. And, the fact is it's not fluid. And it doesn't understand kind of the rhythm of life that I see what they're tapping into is kind of that rhythm that computers can't do.
Yes.
Computers are just they're just like a bean counter in a sense. It's just garbage in, garbage out. It's bits and it's bytes. So I see how that makes sense.
Yes. The other big one is PTSD, and we see that a lot with
Sure.
the veterans coming home
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
post-traumatic stress. Wired magazine actually did an article about how the U.S. Army is now using video games in the treatment of PTSD.
Yeah.
It's experimental. I've seen several articles on this in different psychiatric magazines talking about Tetris. The theory behind it is that it distracts the mind from the outside world and allows it to start processing in its own natural fashion.
Does it now? Some people would think that if you're looking at someone who has PTSD and they have PTSD because they went into they were in the Middle East and they're sweeping houses, if you will, and they're going in and then they're doing the same thing in a video game. Some people would think that could trigger a response and kind of throw them back in that scenario.
Again, it's done with doctors in a lab setting. So right now there's several different treatments going on. I haven't seen all of them, and they haven't really been too forthcoming about what they are, as far as whether they're virtual reality, which there is some virtual reality rigs out there. There's some actually using Tetris, just having you play Tetris
Right.
and Pac-Man, things like that. But they are out there. They're being experimented on, and it's coming out with some surprisingly good results.
Good. Well, that's good. I think technology, it can be a big answer to many of the issues that we have. PTSD obviously is a big deal within our armed forces, and not just in our armed forces. It also has to do with you can get PTSD from being in a car accident. Okay, it's just coming to light in a bigger way because of what's happening with our armed forces. We got about a minute left here.
Okay.
So tell the folks, here we are. Obviously, this is not the end. Gamer will continue. And I'm so excited, once again, James, for having you part of the team within Be First in Media. I think this is a great need out there. And, of course, even with your background with the armed forces, too, there's a huge number of people within the armed forces who play. There's a whole family, if you will. But we got about a minute left here. Tell the folks, what they should be doing.
Okay, well, here's one thing. For all your Halo 4 players out there, Halo 4 is actually doing what's called Halo 4 Infinity Challenge. Go to halo4infinitychallenge.com, and one of the grand prizes is actually a Ford F-150 Raptor done up in UNSC style. That is Halo 4 style. The other part of that is you get to be a character in the next Halo game.
Really?
Yes. That is Halo 4 infinitychallenge.com. Check it out. I'll have the link in the show notes. Always supporting our veterans, and so does Call of Duty. Go to callofdutyendowment.org and help a veteran out. You can go buy these dog tags at GameStop, Walmart, and a couple of different places. This is a big deal because what Call of Duty Endowment does is basically you buy this dog tag. It's metal. It's $4.99. They have it at GameStop, Walmart, Toys R Us, and the proceeds go to helping veterans and soldiers returning find jobs. There's a whole resource page on it at callofdutyendowment.org. And so that's what's going on. I'll have my show notes posted, and I'll get those out to you, Terry Littlepage out there. Thank you for working on the website. Thank you for everybody for joining us at Gamer, and as always, game on.